Okay, guys, can I get your attention, please? So before I came down the steps to this lecture, I sent you all a personalized email, and I assigned you a dwelling, a house, freestanding house, somewhere in Auckland. So all of you have a uniquely assigned house. Congratulations. That is going to be your target, your subject for your assignment 2, assignment 2A and assignment 2B. Okay. So that's partly what I want to start off with today. Is I want to launch that assignment. We have a few weeks until it's due, but it's worth 20% overall. Assignment 2A, the first part of it, is the actual due diligence report that you need to put together and submit. That's worth 15% of your grade. And then 5% more is the peer review portion, where you will be asked to review 8 classmates' work. Yeah. So you'll have to go through your colleagues' work, or your classmates' work, and give them some constructive feedback, give them a grade, so you get to put on your lecturer cap, and give 8 grades out. All right? And we'll walk through the instructions here in a second on how it's all going to work. I know the reality is this is a bit premature, because a lot of you will go, yep, and then 4 weeks later, it's all going to be a big fire underneath your butt, and you're going to go, oh my gosh, I got to finish this damn thing. Because the pressure hasn't built sufficiently yet, but that's life. I know how it all goes, but I have an obligation to kind of lay out. I have an obligation to lay out the instructions now and tell you what you should do. What you exactly will do is probably procrastinate towards the very bitter end and then look at the instructions again. But anyway, we'll all get there. I'm here to support you and get you through, and hopefully you will learn something by doing this assignment. Because the idea is that it's practical. It's something that you in your lives, when you go out and to buy your own house, you can take these the skills that you'll learn for the assignment and apply them in real life to make a good decision for you and your family. So what I'd like to do is just start off with just going over real quickly the syllabus, which is the course outline, and talk about just the structure of the last portion of this course. So the test is behind us. Now we shift gears and we look at valuation. That is the main subject matter for the latter half of this course. And all of you guys, of course, have watched the videos that are related to Lecture 7. That's Property Valuation Fundamentals. The focus, like in the first half of the course, was on kind of residential. We're still going to keep that residential theme, although some of the things that I'll dip you into is commercial property on valuation side, just a little bit. You'll get, those of you who continue on, do the full B prop, you'll get plenty of opportunities to learn more things about valuation. The focus of these later courses is all income-producing commercial property. So office space, retail, industrial, that derive income, cash flows, that's the focus. So in this course, we deal with the simpler side of things, residential, but it's pretty important as well. So now you guys have some fundamentals behind you. Lecture 8 is the nuts and bolts of actually going through and determining market value. And Lecture 8, the way I've structured it, is it really tries to hold your hand and help you do your assignment. So there's some lecture material, and then there's a show and tell of bringing you through essentially what it will take to do your assignment. So that is an important lecture, but I wanted to lay out and introduce you to the assignment now. That way when you go through Lecture 8 for next week's review session, as you go through it, hopefully you will spend a little bit of time and maybe even chip away and begin your assignment. That'd be the best way to use your time next week, is to begin the process of making a pass at finishing your assignment. The following lecture, Lecture 9, is again on valuation. It's more specialized stuff. It really doesn't apply so much to your assignment. So really, it's 7 and particularly 8. It's all about the assignment, that 20% coming up. And then I've just bought you an extra week, and I said, let's just not meet at all, because I know what the reality is. A lot of you will actually do your assignment in this week, because that's when it's due. That's cool, whatever. And you even have your class periods. Wednesday, obviously, you've got nothing booked because, well, we're supposed to have this class, which we never use the room for. And then Thursday, we don't meet as well. So you got 2 hours that Thursday just before your assignment's due, and I made it due at the end of the 2 hours. So that was your last big shove to get it done, all right? So I'm trying to help you guys out, making sure you get this thing in on time. Part of the reason for that is because assignment 2B is the peer review portion. And for this all to work the way I've master planned it, you guys have to submit your 2A on time. And you have to submit it to, and we'll go through the instructions in a second, you got to submit it to Canvas, because that goes off to Turnitin land, so I could see if there's anybody copying from last year's, the previous year's stuff, which I know some of you resourceful people have like a database of all kinds of stuff. That's cool. I was a student once. It's not a bad thing. Yeah. I don't encourage you to rip off your past student stuff, because I will catch you. And it's always so sad to have you in my office and say, oh, I didn't know. I was pressured. Yeah. So I don't want that to happen. So it has to be your own work. You got to send it to Canvas, which will send it off to Turnitin, and kind of confirm that as best we can. And then you have to send it to another platform called Europa. I know it's a pain in the butt, but Turnitin's peer review system sucks. It looks really cool, it looks really flash, but it stinks. So we're using an Europa or I am, to do the peer review thing, and it works a lot better. It's really simple. So anyway, given that it's a little bit complicated and all that, I'm giving you plenty of time. You got 2 free hours for sure to tidy up everything and submit it where you need to submit it. Make sure everything's cool, all right? So I'll go ahead and just open up well, first I'll start with showing you what, if you don't check your email all that often, you would have received an email like this. Hi, student, that's you, okay? This is just one of the examples. This is the stock email I sent out. Everybody's gonna get a property address, okay? That's your single family house in Auckland. There's your title, just to make sure you're on the right one. There's a lot description, kind of legal description. Again, this is just to confirm that you're looking at the right house. And we'll walk through first kind of what I would expect you to do. Now, this is something I'd like you to do now. You can procrastinate, that's all cool. I know it's gonna happen anyway. Doing the big push later on, but what I want you to do now, because I can't do this easily for 300, I'm not gonna go through every single one of these and make sure that everything's kosher with each of these properties. This is your responsibility. Please do this sooner, as in today, if you can. So we'll just do this with, this is actually one of the students, I think the guy at the top of the alphabetical order. I don't know if you're in this room or not, but we'll do this for you, okay? So I'm gonna copy that, all right? This came out of, say, the email in your case. I'm gonna boogie on over to this website, homes.co.nz, yeah? I'm gonna pop that sucker right there, and it's gonna come up, hopefully. I'm gonna click on that. Sometimes they're a bit more complicated than others. Sometimes they don't come up with a nice little blue box. Anyway, I'm sure you guys will work through and find the property, okay? This one was simple. I'm gonna click on that. Now, the things that I need to look for here, and if this doesn't pan out for you, you need to email me and say, Mike, my property's busted. You need to send me a new one. And I've got a supply of new ones, don't worry. There's a lot of properties in this city. So I'll send you a new one, but this is what you need to check, okay? First, can you find it? Yes, we found this one. Check to see, let's see, view council records. Kind of have, if there's a little bit of missing data, not the end of the world. If the whole thing's missing or something looks completely out of whack, okay, that's a bit of a problem. And you might need to email me and say, hey, Mike, is this gonna work? And I might say, man, I don't know what happened to that record. I'll send you a new one. Here, use this one instead, okay? So double check to see if this kind of data is there, because this is important when you're doing this assignment. Okay, the other one that's kind of important, they've switched this around a little bit, so let's see. Recent sales, okay, nearby recent sales, list view, all right? And probably click on that, get it to the most recent. What I'm looking for is, you see, like, that's not gonna help me, right? TBC, okay, I don't know what that is. Okay, so that's no good. Just double check and make sure these are legitimate kosher sales, okay? So that's all sweet and it's fairly recent. You need to have at least 3. So if you do this little list for your property and it's got nothing, then you need to email me and say, Mike, I don't have any sales comps. I can't do the assignment with the property you gave me. Okay, this one here has got heaps, all right? There's tons. So you could use this. This property is awesome, it's sweet as. Not every property is sweet as. So have a look, double check that. Do you have all the council related stuff up here? Does it have some comps? Yeah? You don't need to email me and say, Mike, everything's sweet with my property, okay? I don't need to get 300 emails saying everything's cool. All I need is the emails to say, Mike, my property's busted and I need a new one, all right? Then I will send you a new one, okay? This is really something that, I mean, of course you guys could wait until 10 minutes before it's due and say, Mike, my property's busted. Man, you're stuffed. There's no way. I could give you another property and you got 8.5 minutes left. But that's it. You're not going to get any more time. You need to go check to see if your property's working for you or not, okay? And I explain this in the instructions too. So we'll just boogie on over to the instructions. And if we go to assignments, here we go. You guys are really quiet now. You're freaking me out. Okay. So here's the assignments. I'm not going to sit there and read all this to you, but this is where the instructions are located. All right. This is part A. These are kind of the more important instructions. This is the 15% portion. This is your actual report. So the gist of it all is I've tried to take a gender neutral name, okay, Sam. So congratulations, you have a partner named Sam now, okay? So if you're a boy, you have Samantha. If you're a girl, it's Samuel or whatever. Or it's kind of, one of my daughters is all like, oh, non-binary and non-this. I can't figure all this stuff out. So let's just say maybe Sam's non-binary or fluid, gender fluid or whatever it is, okay? Whatever. You guys, you work with it however you want to work with it. But your partner is Sam, and what's happening is you and Sam are, well, particularly you, are thinking of buying this house. And it's first time kind of home buyer thing. But it's really not maybe the most ideal location for you to live in. So you're kind of on the fence. Do I buy this house? Maybe we live in there. Maybe we rent it out as an investment property. Get us on the property ladder. Sam's quite, frowning on this, and he or she is not too keen. So you need to put together a due diligence report, partly for yourself, but a lot of it is to convince Sam and say, Sam, here is, what I think. If we go into this auction, this is kind of what I think we should bid for this property, and do a bit of analysis to kind of get Sam on board. All right? So that's kind of the gist of it. What I know will inevitably happen, and these are the things I want you to think about, is usually when you put a fictitious kind of setup like this, students will pretty much cancel the whole Sam thing, just like Sam I am, that's gone, I'm not going to pay attention to that. And just do here's the assignment. It's some kind of form, like a government form, and I'm just going to fill it out, okay? Mike asked me to do this, and the other, and I'm just going to do the bare minimum, fill it out because it's an assignment for a university course, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, you have to try to get your mind out of that. I'm asking you to do a due diligence report, okay? Yes, it is fictitious, involves this person doesn't exist named Sam, but you need to take it to heart and actually write something for Sam, all right? So if I see that it's just some kind of, here's a form, here's a photo, and I did it in a rush, you're going to do really bad on this assignment, all right? So you need to do it, take it to heart, and produce something that kind of relates to the instructions you're given, okay? You're doing a due diligence report. It needs to be convincing. You need to have arguments there, and you're trying to convince your partner, Sam, of something. Not just filling in a form and saying, oh, you want the value? Phew, man, there you go, value, done. And I know it's accurate because I'm good. So don't do that, okay? So read through this. I actually spent a little bit of time with one element is one of the approaches to market valuation and what you're being asked to do on your assignment is to take a cost approach. So if I had to buy the land and rebuild the house and factor in the depreciation, it's not a brand new house, all that stuff, then, how do I do that? Well, one key bit of information is Cost Builder. So it's kind of quasi-public, you have to pay for it, but it's really the only source of easily accessible cost data, construction cost data in New Zealand. It's now owned and operated by QV, and it is an online kind of subscription-based thing. Our library, I won't even bother doing this. I'll just cut to the chase. I'll show you. I went ahead. I do these things because I was like, oh, I want to do something cute for the students, right? Now, of course, you guys, you're probably too young to even know what the hell that is, all right? This is my era. But anyway, I put together this thing. I was like, oh, let's play a game. And what my intention was, I want to completely demolish the computer system. I want to bring down the IT system in this university, all right? So I was like, okay, guys, and don't worry, don't even bother doing this. I will share this with you because what the library's done is they got a subscription, right? For QV Cost Builder, awesome. And I pushed for this. I was like, I got this course, I'm using it, got several hundred students, da-da-da-da. Okay, we're gonna get a subscription. Cool, awesome. Now, how did they get this subscription? They got one user. And the way this works is you log on to QV Cost Builder like this, and maybe at 4 o'clock in the morning or 3:30 a.m., you know, you could get on there and you could be master and commander of QV Cost Builder. But any other time, especially when we get closer to the due date, I thought it all worked. I didn't know that you could I thought you could have multiple people using it. I was like, okay, I'll show this to the students. We're all gonna get on there. Click on this. Here's your little password. Oh, this is so cool. And then when I finally went through it, I was like, you know what? I could test this on my own. I could just open up 2 browsers. I'm 2 artificial students and do. And then at first I thought it worked. And then I started looking at the browsers and I saw every single time I logged into one, it knocked the other one off. So we could sit there and do this all. And I was gonna say, okay, I want show of hands who could actually see and get into QV Cost Builder and see that. I know there's gonna be one hand up, and that's the last person that got in. Until that person gets knocked out and somebody else. And it's just, so there's only one person in this entire university that could be on QV Cost Builder at one time. So that's beyond useless. If I didn't check this out and I let you guys do your assignment, I can imagine the angst I would get when it gets close to due date. Yeah, you guys would be like, I'm on there, 3 seconds in, some other student came in and knocked you out. And you'd be like, to hell with that. And it'd just be everybody getting to this page for a split second before they get knocked out. So I went ahead and ripped off QV Cost Builder. I pretty much stripped it. And I created a PDF file, and that's what I expect you guys to use. Now, I encourage you, if you happen to be working at 4:30 in the morning, late at night, go ahead and follow these little instructions that I'll put onto Canvas, and get into QV Cost Builder because it's kind of cool, I think, you know, well, whatever, to actually see how the system really works and not the PDF ripoff that Mike gave you, all right? Because there's more information, obviously, than the stuff I sucked out of it. So it might be worthwhile to have a look-see and you know, be familiar with how QV Cost Builder actually works until another student wants to go have a look-see too and kicks you out. Okay? So that's that. That was disappointing. But I'll share that with you guys. All right, let's go back to here. So QV Cost Builder, that's part of it. There's a PDF extract. I haven't put up on Canvas, but I'll put it up there in a sec. And then here's the little bit that I have already told you. You have to make sure that the property that I gave you will work. Okay, you need to have at least 3 comps, 3 comparisons. So recent sales that show up in that list I just showed you. So double check that. If it's not happening for you, shoot me an email, okay? I won't go through the rest of this. You guys can all read this. Some of this is only gonna make sense to you when you actually have watched the lecture material, so it's a little bit premature. But anyway, you can go back to this and hopefully it'll make all the sense in the world. All right. Anyway, so that's assignment A, okay, part A. Now the other bit, which relates to it obviously, is part B. If I get my stupid assignments, where'd it go? Go back to that. Okay, so here's part B. Now, in the past, students, some feedback I got was, give us more instructions, give us more structure to the assignment. I've made an effort. I'm sure you guys still want some kind of perfect little form where just type in your name at the top, and fill in these little boxes, and then assignment done. Okay, I'm not gonna do that. Okay, you do have to have some creativity and try to put together a decent report on your own. What we have here is assignment 2B. Now, this first bit really talks about just submitting it to Europa, okay? And I'll probably just do a Canvas announcement, again, just copy and paste and get this front and center to you. when we get closer to the due date, because you will have to go through this jazz to get it into the ROPA system. It's fairly easy to submit things to Canvas, but Europa is a little bit more of a trick, but it's not too hard. You'll get there. So that's what that is. Now this is the stuff that I really want to share with you. This is the marking rubric. So the marking rubric is kind of a rubric for me to kind of mark you, but it's the rubric that you will use within Europa to mark your 8 classmates' work. All right? So some of this stuff is just simply, have they followed the instructions? Pretty easy, right? Did they actually do what Mike said that they need to do? Did they make sure that they followed the margins and, you know, all this stuff? Is the length of it okay? So this is pretty straightforward, right? Did they put their name on it when they were told not to? Things like that, easy. Okay, this is the more open-ended one. I want critical feedback. Not a whole lot, just a little bit. Pick and choose. It could be about the layout and the presentation, about the way they said something, about their work, about their, you know, referencing the sources, all of these kind of elements of the assignment. You know, go ahead and just give some critical feedback. I don't want to see things like, man, that's awesome. You did a good job. I wish I could write as good as you. Okay, that's not critical feedback. Okay, that's easy. I could copy that out, copy and paste that 8 times to everybody's assignment. Okay, this is critical stuff. How would you be able to make that assignment better? Well, if you would have done this, if you would have done that, you know, that kind of critical feedback, something that somebody could take and say, oh, okay, I'm going to improve that. That's the whole idea of peer review. When you guys get out there and into industry, no matter what you do, say valuation, use that as an example. Okay, you will be asked to peer review your colleagues' work. So they will say, hey, here's my valuation report. What do you think? And then, you know, because there's a lot of times when it's your own work, you guys have done this, you can't see the flaws in it, okay? It will look kind of, because partly you looked at it for too long, and partly because, well, you wrote it and you're biased. So you put things in front of other people, and they will sit there and say, that doesn't really make sense, or I think you should do that, or you missed this. So it's a good learning exercise to do something like peer review, and you get to, you know, be able to see a whole bunch of classmates' work. And hopefully when you see all your classmates' work, you go, damn, I think I'm going to get a bad grade now, but I've seen all these other people's stuff, because mine really stinks compared to them. Or you can say, man, I really am awesome, because these guys all stink. But it's a good way, because otherwise you don't see a whole lot of other people's work. So this is one way to expose you to your classmates' work, and then to give some critical feedback and receive a whole bunch of critical feedback. Okay? Now that said, when you fill out the critical feedback, do not be mean, do not be nasty, don't say something inappropriate. And to kind of have a checks and balances here, there is a little report form, a complaint form that I have in Canvas that will be opened up around this time when these peer reviews are going on, that I encourage you, if somebody is nasty or inappropriate, you let me know so I could deal with them. All right? So it's a bit of a check and balance that it is all double blind, all anonymous. They won't know who you are. You won't know who they are. But I know who all you guys are. And I will allow you to flag for me that, man, this peer review is just like all over the show. It's stupid. They're just saying things that are just obnoxious and da-da-da-da-da. Just be professional, be courteous, but be critical. Yeah? So it's a bit of a balance. All right, some other things like, how to, below average, these kind of Likert scale type things. Anyway, you guys will read this on your own. This is important, okay? The all-important letter grade. We could all interpret what an A+ is and what a D- is, right? You need to give some feedback all the way through, and the very last thing that you're asked is, what letter grade would you give for this one, okay? Now, often students would say, okay, what's the easy way out? A+, man. Who's going to complain with that? A+, 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 every single one, A+. I'm just so generous. Okay? Now the problem is I'm not allowing you to do that. You're given 8. You need to give a maximum of 2 of the same letter grades. So if you just love these people to pieces, you can give 2 A+, 2 A's, 2 A-, but you got to give 2 B+ too. All right? So you can't give more than 2 of any letter grade. So you got to spread the wealth. Yeah? You also can't just fail everybody either. Okay? You do have to pass them. And I will be watching this. Don't think that there's no way this guy's going to figure out if I've given more than 2. I will. Trust me. that is something I will check out, because this is an important way of me using you guys, helping me grade these damn things. Okay, I need to see good feedback from you guys and see a bit of, diversification of the grades here, a little distribution. All right, so I force that by doing this little rule. Okay, so please pay attention. Remember, no more than 2 of any one unique letter grade. Okay, that's probably enough about all this. So you guys go forth and conquer your assignment 2. If you guys have any questions or whatever as you go through it, please shoot me an email, come see me or whatever, and again, I'm here to help you guys. All right, let's see. Where's my, there's my Kahoot. Okay, so getting back to today's review session number 7. Go ahead and hit a Kahoot here. Remember, this is UPI land. Randomize order of answers. Do that. Okay. There's the pin, 878656. No chocolates here, just UPIs, please. Uh-oh, I saw a dot. Hey, for those at home, I'll give you a few more seconds. Three, 2, 1. Okay, we're going. 7 questions, got plenty of time to come in late. First one. The property being valued is commonly referred to as the blank property. How do valuers refer to this? Target property, subject property, the assessed property? None of those. They use some other term. Start you off nice and easy. If you watch the lecture, you should be able to answer this. Man. Might be the best result I've ever gotten. Which of the following valuation assignments focuses on the improvements rather than the land and improvements? So which one of these valuation assignments will they be looking really at, just say the house? Not the full package. Market valuation, insurable value, investment value, none of these answers are correct. Very good, insurable value. So I do have a little, oh, come on. All right. So anyway, here's where I talk about it in the lecture. Yeah, sure. Oh, go away, go away. All right. So when you're dealing with insurable or replacement value, you don't really have, if a fire burns down your house, it usually doesn't damage the land or do anything so where you can't use the land to put a new house on it. So the land value stays as it is, but all you have to do is kind of repair or replace the improvements. So that's why when you deal with insurance, insurable value, replacement value, it's all about the improvements. Next. The main measure of utility for industrial property is a combination of floor area and stud height. Is that a true statement or a false statement? Floor area and stud height. Very good. All right. So why is that so? Because it's all about the volume. Yeah, so industrial property, a lot of it is warehouses, storage, things like that. So how much of the stud height is about how high the volume is, how high the floor to ceiling space is. So it's not just the floor area, but it's also the volume. Ooh, a change. Okay. As discussed, the key measure of utility of a house is its kitchen size, number of bathrooms, floor area, number of bedrooms. Questions like this, it's the best answer, okay? My wife Olga would say, go red. It's all about the kitchen size. The rest doesn't matter at all. And only 4 people agree with her. That's okay. That's right, number of bedrooms. Okay, floor area is a close second. But when it comes down to it, a house's utility, its usefulness, tends to be measured in number of bedrooms. Okay? True or false? New Zealand's most timely, complete, and uniform housing supply information is comprised of code compliance data. CCC, Code Compliance Certificates. Is that true or false? Ooh, okay. Now that you guys are talking a little bit, who can tell me what the right answer for this is? Stats New Zealand, that's okay. But what is it that they're supplying? Huh? No. That's right. And technically, it's not exactly Stats New Zealand, although they present it. It's the territorial authorities like Auckland Council. But sorry, if I had half chocolates, you'll get one, don't worry. You won't leave this room without one. That's my guess. VCon, back on top. OECD and US Fed studies state that credit expansion accounts for up to what percentage of the rise in house prices? 75%, 25%, 50%? None of those. Very good. Half of the rise in house prices. Okay, last discussion question. Gross rental yields underestimate actual realized returns as they don't count holding costs, rates, insurance, interest rates, interest costs. Is that true or false? Ooh, these true false ones, you guys. That is true. Gross rental yields is simply the gross rent, yeah, factored into the house price. But you'll never, ever, ever get the gross rent. You will have holding costs associated with owning that property. So you will never get that amount of cash flow, ever. Is VCOM? No. Oh, totally changed there at the end. Good job, guys. Excellent stuff. Wonderful. Okay. Now our 2 tournaments. You guys put whatever you want in there now. Any kind of crazy names. $901,087. Tournament number 1. get into it now. Come on. 150? Awesome. Okay, 5 questions. Number 1. Regarding the 4 factors of value, utility and desirability relate primarily to individual assets. Very good. Nick G. Blind Monk. Number 3. Dublin shows how an expansion of supply reins in house prices and restores affordability. Is that a true statement or a false statement? Again, this is not your personal opinion. This is based on the lecture material. Ooh. Say, hell yeah, that's false. BB. Interest-only loans imply an expectation that house prices will rise during the loan term. What do you think? That is correct. It's pretty much expectation of the capital gains right there. Bank lending policy in 81 was that loan payments shouldn't exceed blank of breadwinner's earnings. Okay? It's 20. It's 20%, and it was up to 25% in exceptional circumstances. That was the way the main trading banks gave out money. Very, very different from now. Okay, question number 5. Banks can compete on interest rates, but not on the loan to income ratio, as this is regulated. Is that a true statement or a false statement? You guys can do this. Here we go. That's right. That's because it's not regulated. There is no debt-to-income ratio regulation or loan-to-income ratio regulation. All right, who's going to get it? BB. Is BB in the house? And Big Mike. Oh, interception. Hugh Giannis. There's Hugh here. And that one. Oops, sorry. Oh, bad. That was a bad throw. Okay, who's the drumstick? Okay, good job, guys. Tournament number 2. More questions. Uh-oh. Classic. Seven, 5, 7, 0, 5, 5. Oh, so much concentration. You guys are slowing down here. There we go. Only 4 questions, so you got to hurry up if you haven't signed in. Number 1. In the year blank, long-standing controls around lending limits were abolished in New Zealand. 74, 94, 84, 2004. It's a very good title of a book. Oh, wow, you guys are good. Sue Swan 51. If you were to engage a valuer as part of due diligence to buy a home for your family, you'd want to know the home's what? Insurable value, use value, market value? None of these answers are correct. Very good. Probably not insurable value. That just wouldn't do it. Use value is arguable. Definitely market value. Okay, 3 of 4. We're almost there. The quality of a building's finishes and fittings are an example of an externality, structural attribute. It's an example of both of them, an example of none of them. Building's finishes and fittings. Very good. Can't be an externality that's external. It's not really the building. All right. Smooth Swan coming up. Gonna win it. New basic jobs create nonlinear rise in non-basic jobs. However, the reverse isn't true. Okay. So I think the example I gave maybe in the lecture was that a basic job would be like an academic here. Ooh, ouch. Okay. So the idea there is that there's some employment, some jobs where the services or products are exported outside of that market. And higher education would be one example, right? There's lots of international students. There's lots of domestic students that come from outside Auckland, for instance. So one of my jobs might actually support, in a sense, several non-basic jobs. It could be a factor of, say, 3 to 1. So if you hire one more academic, assuming the student numbers are going up or whatever, then there could be 3 other jobs that are kind of created as a result of that. But then if you fire that same academic and that the basic employment goes down, it expands exponentially. So then you lose 4 jobs instead of just the 1. Okay, so the reverse is true. It goes both directions. All right, let's see who won. Where is Mick? Ready? Harry Cox. Smooth Swan, you were up there at the top the whole time almost. Smooth Swan here. You got a, no, Smooth Swan? Oh. Oh, sorry. I know I promised to bring glasses and I didn't do it. Okay, biggest. Yeah. Right there? Okay, well, I should have known. Why do I even have to ask? Nah, or nay. Whoa. Okay, who has diligently showed up to this thing over and over again and has never won a chocolate? Nah. Back row? You've never won one of these things? All right, man, this is it. You can't get another one like that. Well, wait. I've already selected my... Here we go. It's coming off the wall. Oh! All right, throw it back here. All right, guys, see you next Thursday. Remember to try to make your first pass the assignment if you can, okay? At least see if the property I sent you is broken or not.